Alright, so today I'm gonna be doing part two of What If Deku was a Villain. Last time we left off where after they did the little attack on the USJ and they lost and Shigaraki was all mad and Deku told him to chill, just like calm down, whatever. Yeah. After all that, so Midoriya he goes in his little area, his room, whatever, and he's looking in the mirror in his head. He's having internal conflict. He doesn't know if he should have done what he just did. But also in his head, he's like, I did what I did because I wanted to. It was fun. So he's having an internal conflict with himself. He doesn't know if what he did was right or wrong. But at the same time, he doesn't care. So his mental condition is worse like than it's ever been before. He's kind of going crazy, and he's getting closer and closer with Toga, like slowly, cause Toga is the only one who's really trying to break the barrier that he has up around him, cause he really doesn't like talking. He doesn't like it. He doesn't dislike any of them, but he doesn't like any of them. So yeah, she's slowly breaking the barrier that he has up around him, and she's trying and trying to get closer and closer, cause she kind of thinks he's cute, and he really doesn't care at this point. They're like close to friends, but they're not there yet. So yeah, Deku, he's sitting in his room watching the U.S. Like no, he's watching the sports festival, cause cause he really ain't got really nothing to do. So he's watching the sports festival, and he sees that uh oh yeah, I forgot to say Bakugo, because of the slave villain attack, he would have got all for one. So I mean one for all. So he got one for all. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So he's acting crazy after the sports festival because Todoroki didn't use his fire, and he's angry. He's mad because he feels like Todoroki didn't try against him. So he's mad. And Todoroki, he really doesn't care. He's just sitting there like a bitch, like usual. I'm sorry, I just don't like dude, bro. I do not like him. He's annoying. But yeah. What was I about to say? What was I about to say? So yeah, after watching it, he sees like Bakugo. He looks kind of like a villain. So he goes up to Shigaraki. He said, "That kid looks like he could be useful to us. He really doesn't look like he wants to be a hero. He could be a villain if we actually kind of try to persuade him. We just have to get the right words, and we could easily persuade him. Just look at him. He has the mentality of a villain, it seems like. He has the personality of a villain. He probably has the ideology of a villain. Just look at the way he acts." And Shigaraki's like, "Yeah, that is true. He doesn't seem like a hero in the making. He seems more like a villain. He looks like he could tip over the pot any time. He looks like the water could tip over the pot at any time." And yeah, they come to an agreement and they're like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And then we get into the Stain arc. So it still happens to where Stain is in the little thing with the hideout with them, and he's talking to Shigaraki, and he tries to attack Shigaraki. Deku's there. He really doesn't help Shigaraki, and he's just sitting there laughing. He's like, "Shigaraki, you're a weakling. You can't even stop somebody without a quirk that can even hurt you, weakling." And Shigaraki's starting to get mad. He's like, "I may not be able to hurt you." He's like, he's in his head like, "I can't do anything to this kid," but he's so fucking annoying. He's always talking his shit. Like, he doesn't know how to shut up at all. 'Cause Deku, he's always taunting somebody when they mess up. Like, he'll literally, like, he's a jerk in this one. He's like, He don't like mess ups, and he always calls Shigaraki on his mess ups too. And what was I about to say? So yeah, Stain, he's like, what do you mean a weakling? So you're saying I'm weak because I don't have a quirk that can attack? And Deku says that's exactly what I'm saying. And Stain tries to attack Deku, and I forgot to tell that Deku knows like a lot of martial arts because he was trained in martial arts because because Shigaraki wanted him to, like, in case his quirk was ever stopped or erased, he would at least know hand-to-hand combat, so he would be all right if something like that happens. So he he knows a lot of hand-to-hand combat. He knows kung fu. He knows taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, judo, kendo. He knows a lot. So he has so when Stain comes at him, he he judo flips him on the ground and grabs his arm and jujitsu, like he does jujitsu and grabs his arm and puts him in a arm lock. And Stain doesn't even know what just happened. But Stain gets out and he tries to come at Deku, and Deku says it's no fun anymore. And he starts burning Stain's brain and his organs at the same time. Stain, he kind of lets out a scream, but I don't think Stain would be the type to start screaming his lungs out. So he more likely would just sit there, kind of like screaming, like what is this? Why does it burn so much? And Deku finally stops and he says, "So are you gonna do what we want you to, or are you gonna die?" And Stain, he starts to think about it. He's like, "Whatever, I'll do it." And so Deku's like, "Good boy, now go do your job." And Stain says, "Whatever," and then he leaves. And I'm gonna go skip over to where Stain is killing that one guy. It was that foreign hero or whatever. And so Lita comes up because Stain still did paralyze his brother. So he's looking for Stain. In this version, Lita dies because there's no Midoriya to save him. And so yeah, Lita dies. Lita he gets so Stain he stabs Lita in both of his legs, and then he finally stabs him in the brain. It's kind of messed up, but that's the reality. If there was no Midoriya, he would have died that day. So yeah, and then so there is no little Pain retrieval arc because Pain never got caught because he killed Lita quickly and he left and came back to the villain headquarters. And Deku said, "You did your job well," and stuff like that. And then it goes to Shigaraki talking to All For One, and All For One's like, "I want to meet him," and Shigaraki's like, "All right," and Shigaraki takes Deku to All For One, and All For One says, "What's your quirk, boy?" And Deku, not knowing who that is, he takes this kind of offensively. He's like, "Who are you calling boy?" And then All For One, he uses his quirk and pushes Deku away. He was like, "I'm calling you boy." And then he puts Deku in his place, and Deku knows that's the leader. He he shuts his mouth and says, "Yes, sir." And All For One's like, "All right, so for the next mission, we have intel that they're gonna be doing a field trip in the mountains, in the woods or whatever, with the wild pussycats and stuff like that." And Deku's like, "Yeah, okay." And since All For One, he really goes for power. It doesn't matter. He not picking Shigaraki. The only reason Shigaraki was probably the leader is because he was the strongest. But Deku's the strongest now, and he can raise Deku up like just like he did Shigaraki because he can tell Deku, he's not really mentally there right now because he's going a little crazy. Because Deku is still kind of young. He's only 13, no, 14 right now. So, yeah, he is still pretty young. So, yeah. uh, All for one, he makes Deku the leader for this operation. And so, it goes like canon, where everybody's doing all their stuff, their training, except for there's no Deku this time. They're training with them. So when the villains attack, Deku he's attacking the Wild Wild Pussycats with wait, yeah, he's the one who's attacking the Aizawa this time. When Aizawa first comes out the room, he kicks Aizawa in the face. And Aizawa's like, "It's you again," and he's like, "I'm back," and that's where I'm gonna end it. So thank you for watching. Uh, I'll probably continue the next part. Like probably the day after tomorrow. All right.